Founder of the Ku Klux Klan, engineer of the Masonic master plan. Pike said Lucifer is God across this land, and Clinton saying take the mark in your right hand. While we're all dancing to the drums of the Fourth Reich, Clinton's preparing it for another huge tax hike. Order out of chaos, depression, inflation, create the panic, then rape the nation. Crisis creation, incite black and white, program agitation. Don't resist, you're surrounded. By the UN in white and blue, the ATF, the men in black, of the One World Order. But it's not new. Iron Mountain, computer beast, and cattle mutilations. Black projects, UFOs, and weird genetic combinations. The Nazi doctors didn't die? Come on, get him. They came here with the OSS through Operation Paperclip. National ID, debit card? Yeah. Vaccination biochip, milk carton kits, genetic engineering. Clinton says her health plans for you and your own good. Sure. And Adolf Hitler's Robin Hood. Masonic mind manipulation. Inciting riots. It's crisis creation. Biochip implantation. Vaccinate your kid for UN identity.
Okay. So where I left off was right here. In this paragraph here, you can see. Those of you who watch my channel know I do this with, and I did this with all my publications and stuff, but here you go. This is one of my fingers on, and he just got done saying that, talking about World War I, the ruin of it, that just showing that in their own writings that are public. Remember that publicly they're going to write as if they're the good guys, they're bringing in world peace and stuff like that, but you know, if you know how to read between the lines, if you know how to discern, you'll understand what these things mean. The common good, the good of the whole, and end to individualism, and more emphasis on community. You know, what this new heaven and new earth that they're talking about is really just a one world, communist, socialist, whatever government. So, okay, so, but he's saying that Freemasonry is not worth its name if into that ruined world it does not come, Freemasonry, with its historic philosophy, attempt to rebuild the ruin to reconstruct civilization. That they're the ones that are going to reconstruct the civilization, reconstruct and make the New World Order. Okay, so they've been wanting to do this for World War I, World War II, and onwards, an ongoing process. But so there you have your mission here. And this document from the Masons themselves. Here in Iowa. 100 years ago. The dream of the ages. New World Order. The world has not made a good reaction. Civilization has not recovered its equipoise. The whole world is living still upon its nerve and worn threadbare under the stupendous strain. It is a bewildered world everywhere, a confused world, and until great facts are adjusted and new relations created, this makes it an imperiled world. It is going to take the wisest and the most patient of statesmanship to steer a shattered civilization across the crisis of the first 5 years of Reconstruction. The world can never build back what it has destroyed. It was easy to break and to shatter. That which generations had budded crumbled like a house of cards before the belching of shrapnel and the rattle of machine guns. It was easy to shoot the world up. We are finding that it is infinitely harder to build the world back. The difficulty is that there is so little to go back to. Human society is a queer institution. Builded apparently upon substantial foundations, it is in reality constructed out of shreds and patches. Precedence, prejudice, heredity, and environment are far more potent dynamics in this world than our logic and sound philosophy. It is for this reason that civilization finds itself staggering amid the debris of a shattered and disintegrated world. When the guns became silent and men began to think, everybody prepared to go back and get down to normal conditions as they had existed before the war. But when people turned and looked back toward what had been, they realized to their amazement that it was not there. Stranger than that, they realized that what they thought had been there never was there. What we had called Christian civilization had failed to avert war. Professedly, Christian nations had turned the world into a slaughterhouse. Jealousy, greed, and selfish power are not Christianity. These are not the three dynamics of a balanced world. These are the length, breadth, and height of a perfect ashlar. Greed is the length, jealousy the breadth, and selfish power the height of a building, not of righteousness, but injustice and a cruel wrong. In all these, when you read socialist, humanistic literature, the greed and selfishness that he's talking about is basically capitalism. And jealousy, capitalism. So, the capitalist power. Even there is a partial truth. Yes, capitalists are the ones that were behind the creation of the communist revolutionary movements in China and stuff. Go look up Wall Street and the Bolshevik Revolution by Anthony Sutton and others. So yes, that's true to a degree. But you see, they create all these systems, and then they to obviously gain advantage over everybody and to take control. Socialism works a lot because it destroys the middle class, and there are only two classes in a socialist society, right? Rulers and the ruled, us. So then they come out like I said, they come out like the heroes and say that, oh, look at what this system has done. We need to get rid of it. That's what they do. They infiltrate. They corrupt. I think it's the same thing to do with some of the religions that like they corrupt a religious institution from within deliberately to destroy it, and then they come out, point the finger at themselves, and then they want everybody to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so they can bring in their new way, their new system. For 19 centuries, the great master has stood and knocked at the doors of nations as well as to the portals of human hearts. When those doors open, war will cease. The world war is a proof that ethics, commerce, and civil government as they now exist have failed. When this fact breaks in all its grim reality upon the human mind, there may come the dawning of the new heaven and of the new earth, the new world order. Selfishness has all but ruined the world. Unselfishness alone can redeem it. The world has not learned its lesson, though it staggers in the awfulness of its exhaustion. Jealousy, greed, and selfish power still assert their right to rule. And pestilence, famine, poverty, and death are the harvest of their planting. Will unselfishness, pity, service, and sacrifice loom large now in the shattered world and prove that justice and righteousness are possible? Is love stronger than hate? Can charity outride avarice? The answer lies as by divine challenge in the hands of America. The America that came in, last and providentially suffered least. The America that among all the nations of the world today is practically the only one unshattered and unweakened. And that must be the reason why, Foster Bailey in his book, Changing Esoteric Values, whatever values they have, that he talked, that was his words, him and other occultists were pressuring the president, Washington, D.C., to desperately get America into World War II. Because it had to happen, because I guess it would give birth to their new world order, whatever. You can go check out my my video, Freemason pushes America and tries to push America to get into World War II. Just go there and check that out when I read and prove to you that Freemasons and New Agers aren't the peace-loving hippie types that they like to parade around like they are these days. I mean, they called in their books for genocide, population control. They call these things cleansings. These wars cleansings. Whatever may be said in the folly of our partisan quibbling about the ways and means and method and manner in which we carried on during the months that we were in the war, one thing stands universally unchanged. We came into the war for the sake of an ideal. We asked no recompense. We sought no conquest. We did not reach with itching fingers for spoils or dominion. We came with the cry upon our lips, that which we were willing to sacrifice that the rest of the world might enjoy, that which we held as a priceless heritage, the unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If America has a destiny, if she is called to a sacred mission, it is not to grow greater in extent, richer in possession, more dominant in power, but by virtue of all these which Providence has strewn the prodigal hand as a mighty benediction, to carry throughout the world as a mighty preachment the gospel of happiness, contentment, and peace that comes through the rule of righteousness, justice, and truth, the measure of a balanced world, a philosophy whose length, breadth, and height are equal. If we conceive that thus there opens before America the fulfillment of her mission, the accomplishment of her destiny, and Manly P. Hall wrote a book called America's Assignment with Destiny, The Secret Destiny of America, it devolves upon us as men and as Masons to take thought and counsel how she may be best equipped for a mission so transcendent among the nations of the world. We are not tonight to enter the broad field of international policies, nor to consider the things that differentiate treaties between states. My thought is rather that we should look at our country as she stands today, bearing her part of the burden, meeting her measure of the problems consequent upon the war, and inquire as to how she measures up to the essential equipment, the national character that she should possess if she is to become the potent force in this scheme of a world's reconstruction. I love how you put that word scheme in there, because it is a scheme. In her equipment, in her organized activity, in her varied processes of life and action, does she approximate the dimensions of a balanced nation? Can we apply the vision of St. John to the America of today and find that its requirements are realized? So, I think I'll have to make another half hour, maybe. I mean, I don't mean to, there's some of this in this that just kind of drags on. It's not the funnest. But, like I said, there is some stuff he says in here that is part of my accumulation of proof and documentation that these secret societies were the ones that were behind the push for, obviously, a New World Order, in particular of many of them, a one-world socialist government, and that it's not a conspiracy theory or it's not speculative. It's, they kind of, they kind of make it public, so, yeah. So anyways, I will make a part 3 here, and
God's son, born of incest from the sons of Satan and their sisters, satanic.
Alright, well, wait for part 3.